Hi, this is Majinoni, and here's my review for Radical's Driver for the Dead. Radical sent me a preview copy for issue number 3, which is going to be coming out the week of February 1st, 2011. And as I was going through the comic, I was thinking, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in here, and I gotta figure out what's going on if, I have to review this thing. So, I went to my comic store and I looked for issue number 1 and 2. They didn't have issue number 1, but they had issue number 2. So I went with that, and luckily it doesn't look like I missed anything integral to the story, which would have thrown me. Now the gist of the story is you have this guy named Alabaster, and he's a driver for the dead. What he does is he transports dead bodies from where they died to their final resting place. And along the way he's always encountering something supernatural, something crazy. Now, in this case, his job is to transport the body of a voodoo master. He died in the first issue trying to save the life of a young boy during an exorcism. And along the way, his granddaughter goes with him. And along the way, of course, it's not a uneventful journey. We get introduced to like a necromancer, and he's got this really weird looking band of zombies that look like they came out of some S&M club. And what he's doing is he's going around gathering body parts of other voodoo or magic wielding people. And what he does is, like for an example, this one here is very talented with her hands. That's where her power comes through. So what he does is, he kills her, takes off her hands, and substitute his hand for hers, and he gains her power. Now, from there, his main goal, obviously, is to get to the body of the voodoo master, and because he needs a body part from him, so this way he'll become even more powerful. So it's Alabaster's job, basically, to prevent that from happening. Now, obviously in the second issue, things don't go very well for Alabaster and his companion, so the third issue is basically where it's payback time, and he's got to get the job done. Now, as a painted book, I think it's actually really well done in comparison to some of the other painted books that Radical has. In this case, where there needs to be a lot of detailing in the background, there is. When there isn't. And then in the cases where there isn't any, like a lot of background detail, they do a really good job with a lot of the effects that they use. Like for example here, even though it's a little muddy, it still looks like you're in a swamp type thing. They don't just use like a solid color to represent a wall type thing. So that's what I kind of appreciate from that. It really has they do a really great job with the setting, and they use a lot of techniques to really put you into that kind of environment. Like for example, like looking at the couple pages I printed from the issue number 3. Let's see. Like if you look up here, they do a really great job with the sense of depth. Like you're really deep within the swamplands, and you're basically out at this cabin that time forgot, basically, because nobody goes there. It's because it's so far deep into it. But at the same time, they don't muddy up the wording or word balloons here by filling in a lot of unnecessary detail. They also do a fantastic job, I think, with the aging effects of the old woman. They put just enough in there, as you can see here, to really give her the sense of age, but with not by not overdoing it. And then over here, the water effects I think is also spectacular. It has a really great sense of movement, not like a fast-flowing river, obviously, but it's that slow, you have that filmy, oozy type, I guess. No, ooze isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. It's like when you see those videos on Discovery with the alligators in the Everglades. That kind of effect. And then, like I said, they did a really, really great job with that. And here's a picture of Alabaster here, where he's like basically ready to go for combat. Alabaster used to be in the army, and so he's trained in all sorts of ammunition and firearms. So, I mean, they did here a really great job too. You know, with the muscles, the shirt, you know, the rippling folds there, the bullets. You know, like I said, overall, they did I think they did a fantastic job with the artwork in this book, and you know, it's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be like. The fight scenes are really short and quick, nothing too elaborate, but as you can see, there's a lot of blood and violence, or you know, very violent deaths. Obviously, since you're dealing with undead and the supernatural. Now, the third issue, I didn't print the pages from the third issue that had it, but there's this one scene that was really, really jacked up. When I was reading it, I was like, oh man, this better not happen. And luckily it didn't, but if you do read it, you'll know immediately when you read that spot, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Because it was just, that's something I just don't want to see. And I already saw more than what I ever would have wanted to see. But overall, the third issue ended. I think for at least the 2 issues I read, I think overall the storyline was really entertaining, and I think the format for Drive Really Dead actually would work really good in short mini arcs like this. You know, I would hate to see this movie be a long-term series where it comes out every single month. You know, because I think once you start getting up to issue 20, 30, you know, the idea of him doing the same thing over and over again is going to get really repetitive. But I think if they do this, like maybe do like these 3 issues here, wait a few months, come out with another batch of 3 or 4 issues, something short and sweet like that, I think that would be really, I can get behind something like that, and I would, if they do a second series of for this, I probably would buy it. Because I think, well, I thought originally, like I said, the title alone made me not want to buy it, and I thought that, well, I had an idea of what he was. When it was confirmed, it didn't seem as bad as what it was from the beginning, I guess you can say. It looked like they put a little bit of thought into it, a little bit more thought into his origin, the origin of the necromancer, and there's a lot of, I guess you can say they based it a lot on like the South, the mentality of like during the Civil War time, and the voodoo and things like that. So overall, I think they did a really great job with this book, and I was like I said, it completely caught me by surprise, because I would have just never read it otherwise. So if you have any comments or questions, just let me know. Rate the video up or down. Let me know what you think. If you do buy it, I'm really curious to know what you guys think about it. Oh yeah, and then there is a werewolf in the 3rd issue, and that werewolf really is cool, the way they draw that one. I forgot to mention that. So anyways, I'll have more reviews up later. So until next time.